Is Julian Lopetegui, West Ham manager, under pressure right now? Well, the fans certainly think so. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Edson. I hope you're all well. So, after West Ham's inglorious defeat to Chelsea at the weekend, 3-0, many of the fans, West Ham fans, are kind of questioning the appointment of Julian Lopetegui and also the way they're playing as well. Now, conversely, there are many fans, like myself, who say, well, look, it's still too early to tell. But it's not looking great right now. Now, the decision to move away from David Moyes and go with a new manager was based upon really the quality of the football, the entertainment factor. And we're hopeful that Julian Lopetegui would come in and galvanise the team, bring in new players and get us playing a different style of football, a more attractive and entertaining type of football, but also come away with some results and give us hope for the future and build upon good quality football to get results and hopefully start challenging for European positions as well. So Lopetegui came in, brought lots of players in the summer, and it's been a very indifferent start to the season. Now, many West Ham fans would remember a few years ago when Manuel Pellegrini became West Ham manager and there was a big summer spending spree of transfers. Everybody was hopeful in the West Ham faithful, and I was one of those, and I was waxing lyrical about all the players that we'd signed and how well we were going to do, or we should do. Then a few months later, Pellegrini was out, he was sacked because of our dismal performances, and we had to get David Moyes back in to save the day. Oh, wow, great. Now, in all fairness, yes, David Moyes did bring us success in the Conference League. Of course he did, fantastic. But it was the quality of the football, especially in the league, that let him down and let us down as well. Hopeful for Lopetegui to come in and change this and change the way West Ham were playing. Now, I make this video because there are other managers, which I've already talked about in a previous video, that are under similar kind of pressure. Gary O'Neill, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Russell Martin at Southampton, Eric Ten Hag, yes, granted, got a couple of results recently, but still under pressure. Sean Dyche, of course, at Everton, whilst he got a point at the weekend, still there, still under pressure. Lopetegui now enters this mix. He enters this mix because of indifferent performances. Should have lost against Fulham last weekend and got a last-minute equaliser. Not really impressive against many of the other teams. Came up against Man City and didn't even try and put their defence under a pressure, even with any kind of long ball tactics as well. Man City play with long ball every now and again. So why can't teams like West Ham go against Man City and play the long ball every now and again, try and turn their defence and put them under pressure? There was nothing like that. We were assuming that Lopetegui would come in, or I was assuming that Lopetegui would come in and play a varied style of football, maybe based on possession as well, but also be able to change it up and have in-game management or change in-game tactics according to the opposition as well. He's come in and he's making substitutions, whereas David Moyes didn't. But some of those substitutions have been questionable. You're taking off players that are performing quite well and leaving players on the pitch who are underperforming as well. So questions are being asked there. Then you're looking at leaky defence and a group of players that just don't seem to be energised in any way, shape or form. Coupled with a few injuries and underperforming players all over the pitch, all of a sudden you've got a recipe for disaster. Now, is it all doom and gloom? Well, no. We're only 5 games in, of course. It's a bit too early to tell. It's a bit too premature to start getting out the pitchforks and lighting the torches, of course. But at the same time, 5 games in, 4 points on the board, 1 win, 1 draw. 1 was a lucky draw, so you've basically got 1 win to your name. And the rest of the performances haven't been great at all. You go up against Chelsea, supposed to be a London derby, didn't feel like a London derby at all. There didn't seem to be any passion there, any kind of appreciation. This is your bitter rivals, as it were. You need somebody in there, in that team, in that squad, to just make the rest of the players fully understand what it means to play for a Premier League, an English Premier League, but also when you got bitter rivals, what it actually means as well. And maybe there's a problem with the coaching staff as well, because they don't fully understand this as well. And certainly with the players as well. There just seems to be something lacking this season. And perhaps this is what happens when you get a manager and a group of coaches and a group of players who are just not in sync with each other. The players will just run around around like headless chickens. They were wide open through midfield and into defence. It was easy to leak in goals. They just weren't energised, they weren't running around, they weren't chasing around enough. And then you've got Lopetegui on the sideline just shouting orders in the first half, and then in the second half just being completely frustrated with it. The players not responding to any of his instructions. So then you question, is the message getting through from Lopetegui and his coaching staff to the players? Are they receiving it? Are they understanding it? And why aren't they responding? So some fans might say, look, you've got to give him time. Some say it's too early to tell. Some are saying, oh, look, bring back Moyes. We should have stuck with Moyes. We shouldn't have stuck with Moyes. We should have gone with a new manager. But is Lopetegui the right manager for West Ham right now? This is the same question that every fan of every club will be asking as soon as they bring in a new manager. Is this new manager the right person? And yes, yet we still don't know. That's the key thing here. We still don't know. However, on Wednesday night, West Ham go up to Liverpool in the FAL Cup third round. West Ham have to take their first team up there and play their first team and hope that Liverpool play their B, C or D team just to get any kind of result there. If they come away with a result, that might appease the fans, might appease the players a little bit, or give them a little bit more confidence in there as well. But then the weekend, you got Brentford, then you got Tottenham and Manchester United. You got Nottingham Forest as well, Ipswich Town. I mean, these are all tough games for West Ham in the coming weeks. So we could get to Everton, which is the 11th game of the season. That'll be 10 games in, and potentially only have about 4 or 5 points on the board. That's not good enough. So in a previous video, when I talked about managers under pressure, I said, well, actually, that's the 10-game mark. That's when you really have to start considering whether this experiment with your new manager is working or not. That's when Lopetegui, for me, is going to be under real pressure. If they haven't picked up enough points in the next few games, and I'm not sure where these points are going to come from, in all fairness, because considering the way they're playing and the opposition that they're going to go up against, unless they turn it around really quickly, unless they suddenly find that magic ingredient, which I don't believe they will be able to find, and then you could find that you're going up against Everton in the 11th game of the season with very few points on the board, most likely in the bottom 3 of the league, and you've got to hope that Everton are still having a nightmare of a season, because if they lose that game or don't come away with a win, then you've got to be thinking, well, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. You've got to do something different. The question here is how much patience the West Ham board going to have with Lopetegui, how much patience are the West Ham fans going to have with the board as well, because it's all well and good saying you've got to support your team, and you do support your team, you do support the manager, but it's also about a rate of return. Support is based upon a rate of return as well, and you've got to be able to see something in your club that you think, well, we're paying all this money to come and see you, we're paying all this money to support you, we as a club, we've spent millions and millions and millions. There's got to be something there where the manager has to prove himself and has to show a set of statistics, points on the board, points in the table to say, look, this is how we're doing quite well. And if you're at 10 games in the season, you've only got 4 or 5 points on the board, that's not good enough. You're failing. That's an F. That's an F on the scorecard, I'm afraid. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now.